Hello everyone. Today we are going to study about the salts. In the previous videos we studied about acids and bases, their chemical properties, etc. Now we are going to study about the next topic, that is salt. Now what is a salt and how is it formed? You learnt that in the neutralization reaction, when an acid reacts with a base, salt and water is formed. So what is actually a salt, right? A salt is a compound formed from an acid by the replacement of hydrogen in the acid by the metal. Now how is this hydrogen replaced? A common example, if we take, suppose we take a base, like in the neutralization reaction we learned, we take a base and an acid. So if we take a base, say NaOH, and we react it with an acid, right? A salt is a compound from an acid by the replacement of this hydrogen in the acid by metal. So what will happen? This hydrogen, it will be replaced by the metal and it will form NaCl. Plus, of course, water will be formed, right? So this compound which is formed, that is known as salt. Now NaCl, common name of NaCl is also salt, right? This is the salt which we use in our kitchens also. But in general, salts are all those compounds which are formed by the reaction of, like if we take any other example also, KOH, potassium hydroxide plus H2SO4, a base and an acid. So this will break down into ions and it will form K2SO4 plus H2O. Now this K2SO4, here also H has been replaced by a metal, potassium. So this K2SO4 is also known as a salt, right? A salt can be any acid, like and a salt can be a sulfate salt, a chloride salt, right? Sulfate salt, chloride salt, nitrate salt. So any salt which is formed by sulfate, by the replacement of H, here it will be H2SO4, HCl, HNO3, wherever this H will be replaced. So it will be known as, like just now we formed potassium sulfate. So that will be known as a sulfate salt. If it is like sodium chloride, it will be known as chloride salt, nitrate salt, and so on. Right? Now, this salts, they also have a family. There is a family of salts. Now, what is meant by family of salts? As I was telling you, now any salt that is made up of a cation and an anion. Like here, if we take this example, Na2SO4. It is made up of, we all know, sodium, it has a positive ion, sulfate, it has a negative ion. So it is formed by cation and anion, right? Cation will, or the metal, that will always be written first and then comes the anion, right? Same way for NaCl, it will be positive here, negative here. So any salt that is always formed by the combination of any anion and a cation, where anion is written first and then the cation is written first and then the anion is written. Alright, that is always the positive sign comes first, or the positive ion comes first, and then comes the negative ion. So these, either the family of the salt, they are known by the anions or by the cations. Like here, if we take the example sodium sulfate, potassium sulfate, calcium sulfate, so they all belong, because they have same sulfate here, that is the negative ion. So they are known as sulfate family. The salts of sulfate family. And if we see here, sodium chloride, sodium sulfate, sodium nitrate, they all belong to sodium family. Right? The family of salts is either known by the cation to which they belong or the anion to which they belong. Here all have the same sulfate group attached to the metal, so they all belong to sulfate family. Here they have sodium as the cation, so they are known as sodium family. This is how their family is called. Next, comes the pH of salt solution. How do we come to know whether the salt is an acidic salt or basic salt or neutral salt? Just now we learned that salt is formed by neutralization reaction. So most of the salts formed, they are neutral in nature. But some salts may be acidic or alkaline also. So how will we come to know whether the salt is a neutral salt or an acidic salt or a basic salt? Right? Just now we learned either they are formed by neutralization reaction, but we learnt this also, that the salts can also be formed when any acid reacts with a metal. Then also the salts are formed. Right? Then like for example, any acid we take, hydrochloric acid, when it reacts with a metal, it will form NaCl plus hydrogen gas. So this is also a salt formed here. So it can be formed by neutralization reaction also and by this reaction also. Now we know that any salt is formed with the combination of a base and an acid. Now here if we see NaCl, that is sodium chloride. This sodium chloride, it has a pH value of 7, and you have also already learnt this, that pH 7 indicates neutral. So this salt will be neutral. It will neither be acidic nor basic. This will be neutral. Now if we see this sodium carbonate Na2CO3, its pH value is 9, that is more than 7. More than 7 means it is going to be alkaline, basic in nature. Then ammonium chloride, it has a pH value of 6, so that is less than 7. So less than 7 means it is going to be acidic in nature. Now how do we come to know about the pH values? Now here if we see, these are given the example here, acidic salts which have pH value less than 7, right? You all know that pH value from 0 to 6 means acidic. At 7 it becomes neutral. Above that it is 8 to 14 will be basic. So here if we take copper sulfate. Now how is copper sulfate formed? How do we form the salt? Now copper sulfate. Sulfate here means H2SO4. Right? H has been replaced by copper. That means the base of copper hydroxide was added to H2SO4 and it forms CuSO4 plus H2O. Now here this sulfuric acid H2SO4 is a strong acid. All the mineral acids like sulfuric acid H2SO4, HCl, HNO3, these are strong acids, right? So the strong acid, when it reacts with a weak base, copper hydroxide is a weak base, right? Now when it reacts with this, it will form a acidic salt. Always whenever any strong acid reacts with a weak base, it will form acidic salt, because acid is very strong here. It will form a salt which has pH value less than 7. Same way if we take FeSO4, again iron sulfide, iron hydroxide is a weak base, while H2SO4 is a strong acid. Now ammonium nitrate, NH4NO3. This NH4OH, that is ammonium hydroxide, plus it is NO3 written here, that means the acid is HNO3. You know, all acids have hydrogen ion in them. So we have, like if NO3 is written here, it is understood it is HNO3. What will this form? This will break from here, this will break from here into ions, and it will form ammonium nitrate plus water. So this ammonium nitrate, this will be an acidic salt, because ammonium hydroxide is a weak base. Same way FeCl3. Iron hydroxide is a weak base. Cl means it is reacting with HCl. Right? So which is a strong acid. Same way if we talk about the basic salt. Basic salts, they have pH more than 7, in between 8 to 14. Now how, like this example we take sodium acetate. Sodium acetate, that means we take a base, that is NaOH, plus acetic acid, that is CH3COOH. Here this H, right, and here sodium will also break down, right, and it will form CH3COONA, that is sodium acetate, plus water. Here hydrogen has been replaced by the metal, and this will be a strong base, right? Then same way, because here acetic acid, acetic acid is a weak base. It is found in vinegar, etc. So that is in the acetic acid only. If we put water, that turns into vinegar. That you will learn later. So this is a weak acid. Then NaHCO3. NaHCO3 means sodium hydroxide, NaOH, plus H2CO3. Right? Carbonic acid, which is a weak acid, it will result into a strong base, a salt of strong base. Then CaCO3, That means a combination of calcium hydroxide, that is a strong base, plus H2CO3, right? So here is this is HCO3 and this is H2CO3. What will it form? It will form a salt of strong base, right? So this is how we can come to know about the salt of strong acid or strong base, whether a salt will be acidic or basic in nature, right? From the formula, from the name itself, we can come to know whether it belongs to acidic nature or basic nature or neutral salt, right? Now we are going to study about the salts, that is the different types of salts. Now the most common one is NaCl, that is sodium chloride, which is formed by the combination of NaOH plus HCl. Now this commonly also the sodium chloride is known as common salt only. This is the salt which we use in a kitchen. We put it in our vegetables, whatever things we make, right? While cooking, we use this salt, NaCl. Now, how this can be obtained through the neutralization reaction, right? But commonly, we take it from the nature. It is found in abundance in nature. It is found in seawater, right? So this common salt, mostly it is extracted from the salt water. The shallow sea beds are made in which the seawater is put, and then that water keeps on evaporating by the sun's heat. And when all the water evaporates, what is left behind? That is the common salt. Of course, it has many impurities in it, and then it is filtered and then it is purified before it comes in the market, right? Then this is the common salt. How we obtain common salt from sea, right? Then we have the rock salt also. Now, how do we get this rock salt? These are obtained by mining, underground mining. How these are formed? These are these are the mountains which millions of years ago they were present in the sea, but when the sea water evaporated millions and millions of years ago, then these rocks, they were left behind and they are found underground. Just like coal mining is done, same way the mining of these rock salts are done, right? And these are mostly brown in color because of the impurities present in it. Now this common salt, this is a very, very important salt because many other salts like washing soda, bleaching powder, sodium hydroxide, then baking powder, all these, they are made from this raw material. This is used as the raw material in the manufacturing of all these other salts. Now, how all these other salts are prepared, this we will take up in the next lesson, right? Okay, then till then, keep studying and keep safe. Thank you.